Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Diggity, the Rock Reactor, back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. We got the morning news. Trump announces Europe tariffs unless Greenland is sold to the U.S. Trump says that he will impose new tariffs on Denmark and other European countries until the deal is reached to purchase Greenland. Trump got too much going on, just way too much going on. As far as this one, guys, I don't see him winning this one. I do not see it. I mean, anything can happen with Trump, and Trump has pulled off a lot of shit, but I don't see him pulling this one off. I think they're applying the pressure. They're not going. Well, he's applying the pressure, but they're not gonna. They're not gonna stand down with this one. I don't see it happening, guys. I could be wrong because we never know what tomorrow comes, especially these days. But I think they already got troops over there in Greenland. A lot of European countries are getting together to not allow this to happen, and he's gonna apply the pressure. But I think this is not. He's not winning this one. Trump got too much going on right now. It's like Trump he's throwing a lot of enemies on top of him. So he's accumulating too many enemies. He got too much. He got Syria. He got Iran. He got Venezuela. He wants to go into Cuba. He wants to go into Mexico. He got the Ukraine-Russian war that he's trying to do a peace plan for it. It's just too weak. He got internal issues in the States with ICE and Minneapolis and all this going on. He got too much going on. It's hard for anybody to even keep up. So I don't see him winning this one, guys. I don't know, but let's take a look. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Let's take a look.
Large protests in Greenland and Denmark as President Trump escalates his threats to take over the semi-autonomous Danish territory. He ramped up the pressure on the Arctic island today, saying he'll impose new tariffs on Denmark and several other European countries unless a deal is reached to purchase Greenland. Today, a large crowd of people taking to the streets in Greenland, telling Trump their homeland is not for sale. The same message was heard in protests in several Danish cities earlier today, with thousands taking part. A U.S. delegation of bipartisan U.S. lawmakers is in Copenhagen, meeting with leaders from Denmark and Greenland. And amid the growing tension, several European nations have sent military personnel to Greenland for joint exercises. We've got team coverage of these developments. We'll go to those protests in Greenland in a moment, but let's begin with Betsy Klein and these new tariffs that President Trump is promising. Betsy, what more can you tell us?
Right, Frederico. During President Trump's second term, we have seen him use tariffs and specifically the threat of tariffs as a key negotiating tool, and he appears to be doing that right now with Greenland.
Yeah, that's his weapon. That's his weapon of choice. That's Trump's weapon of choice. Tariffs.
That is the Arctic island that is controlled by Denmark that Trump says the U.S. needs to control for national security purposes to counter threats from both China and Russia. Its strategic placement in that Arctic region. This, of course, has spawned major pushback from Greenland, from Denmark, and from other top European allies, with many deploying military personnel to the island this week, and it could have significant economic impacts on those countries, as well as top European countries that are key trading partners with the United States. The president had noted that he could use tariffs on these countries to apply some pressure, but putting names and a number on it today in a post to social.
Look at all the countries that are sending troops to Greenland: Finland, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, United Kingdom, and France. I don't see him winning this one. I mean, let's just hope that there is no conflict, because if there is a conflict, it's gonna cost a lot of stuff, including they're gonna have to pull out of NATO. I mean, a lot of shit is gonna happen if the United States clash with all those countries. It's crazy.
Media. I want to read to you a little bit of that very lengthy post. He said, starting on February 1st, 2026, all of the above mentioned countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland, will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June 1st, 2026, the tariff will be increased to 25%. This tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. Of course, giving officials just 2 weeks, just under 2 weeks until February 1st to find some sort of negotiated agreement to avoid those pricey tariffs. And there were meetings this week with top officials from Greenland, from Denmark, along with Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, to try to resolve this. And they agreed to keep talking, but there wasn't any clear resolution reached there. The president has also suggested that the possibility of leaving the NATO alliance remains on the table. Listen.
To pull out of NATO if it doesn't help you acquire Greenland, if it doesn't lead the way.
Well, we're going to see. NATO has been dealing with us on Greenland. We need Greenland for national security very badly. Yeah, we're talking to NATO.
Now, a new CNN poll indicates that this policy push does face stiff headwinds from the American public, in addition to those protesters that we are seeing today in Greenland and in Denmark. 75% of Americans in that CNN poll say that they oppose Trump's efforts to take control of Greenland. Many of the president's own.
Wow, so 75% of Americans do not agree with Trump or do not support Trump in acquiring Greenland. Guys, there's a lot going against him. I think Trump is going to have to sit this one down.
Those protesters that we are seeing today in Greenland and in Denmark.
Trump going to have to take the L.
75% of Americans in that CNN poll say that they oppose Trump's efforts to take control of Greenland. Many of the president's own supporters are against this move, so clearly he needs to do more to sell this unpopular policy to the American public. Frederica.
All right, Betsy Klein, thank you so much. Let's go now to Greenland, where we find Nick Robertson. So, Nick, tell us about these protests taking place in that country today.
Very popular protests by, I think, even conservative estimates. There's 20,000 people in this town, and perhaps a third to maybe half of them came out on the streets. And it was a very sort of simple message to the White House: Greenland's not for sale. Ask anyone on the streets, as we did today, and that was the message. Dig down a little bit, and you get flavors of what else they would like to see. They would like to see independence in the future for Greenland, but it was very much sort of focused around families today. The Prime Minister came along. He told the local broadcaster here in Nuuk in Greenland that he had been in Denmark and he wanted to come back here. Is attending a lot of talks in Denmark, but he wanted to be here to be part of the protest here. The protest marched all the way through the town and ended up right outside the U.S. consulate, and there was the Prime Minister of Greenland on a snowy outcrop of rock right above the U.S. consulate, waving a big Greenland flag, giving a big speech in Greenlandic to the people gathered there. There was somebody else, another politician there, who was speaking a bit in English. Again, that very simple, clear message. Greenland is not for sale. We don't want to be part of the United States. And I talked to some youngsters there as well, a group of young people. They were 20 years old. They told me in their first jobs, and this is their future they're talking about. And they told me how they felt about how many people they'd seen come out today with this message.
I did not expect so many to be here, but it warms my...
Can anybody answer this question? Why is it that Trump is the only president, as far as I know, that has ever determined and said, wait a minute, we need Greenland. We got to buy Greenland. We have to have Greenland. It's a national security issue. We have to have Greenland. And why is it that I never heard China saying they want to buy Greenland? I never heard Russia saying anything about taking over Greenland. I know they do things over there and whenever they have activities or they have issues there. They have their own things that they're doing there. But why is it that Trump is the only one that woke up and said we need to have Greenland? I don't get it.
It's hard to know that we are all united together to stand by and fight Trump.
And what's your message to the president?
Our message is that Greenland is our country. We cannot be bought. We are people, and he should stop whatever he's doing because we are the people of Greenland.
So what you could hear being shouted in the background there in the local language is Greenland, Greenland. The protests went on for about an hour and a half, and every few minutes people would be chanting Greenland, Greenland. The fact that it ended outside the US consulate really part of that message to President Trump. But people I spoke to, those young people as well, they told me they're genuinely living in fear every night that this could be the last night that the US troops could come here. There's a genuine fear about that at the moment.
Oh my gosh. That fear palpable, and the number seen in the number of people who are turning out for those protests. Nick Robertson, thank you so much. All right, we're watching large protests take place in Greenland and Denmark today as President Trump escalates his threats to take over the semi-autonomous Danish territory. Trump ramped up the pressure on the Arctic island today, saying he'll impose new tariffs on Denmark and several other European countries unless a deal is reached to purchase Greenland. The protesters in Greenland telling Trump today that their homeland is not for sale. The same message was heard in protests in several Danish cities earlier today, with thousands taking part. A U.S. delegation of bipartisan U.S. lawmakers is in Copenhagen, meeting with leaders from Denmark and Greenland. And amid the growing tension, several European nations have sent military personnel to Greenland for joint exercises. CNN's Betsy Klein is joining us right now. Betsy, good to see you again. What more are you learning about these tariffs and Trump's threats to annex Greenland?
Well, Federica, starting in his first term and steadily escalating ever since, President Trump has been emphatic that the U.S. must have control of Greenland for national security purposes to combat rising threats from China, from Russia. This, of course, has spawned major pushback from Greenland, from Denmark, which controls Greenland, as well as top European allies. And that escalated once more today when the president laid out a tiered tariff threat. And this threatens to potentially rattle markets and really disrupt key trading partner relationships. I want to read to you from the president's post to social media. He says, starting on February 1st, 2026, all of the above mentioned countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland, will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June 1st, 2026, the tariff will be increased to 25%. This tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. Just under 2 weeks there until February 1st for those leaders to reach a deal with President Trump. And we are hearing from top European officials expressing very stark concerns about the president's threat here. I would just remind you that a couple of days ago, Vice President J.D. Vance, along with Secretary Marco Rubio, met with top officials from Greenland, from Denmark. And one of those officials, the Danish foreign minister, said in a statement that this comes as a surprise. He said that they had had productive discussions. We also heard from French President Emmanuel Macron. He said, quote, tariff threats are unacceptable and have no place in this context. He warned that Europeans will respond in a coordinated manner. We heard from the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who says that this tariff strategy is, quote, completely wrong. We also heard from European Commissioner Ursula von der Leyen, who says that tariffs would undermine transatlantic relations and risk a dangerous downward spiral. Now, as you mentioned, European countries have deployed a military presence to Greenland. They say that that is exactly because President Trump says that this Arctic island needs more security. They say they are doing what he is asking. And back here at home, as we are seeing those protests play out in Greenland and in Denmark, this is a deeply unpopular policy. 75% of Americans in a new CNN poll say that they oppose Trump's efforts to acquire Greenland. Frederica.
All right, Betsy Klein, thanks so much.
Too much going on. Guys, I think, I'm going to be honest, I think Trump has a bigger angle in acquiring Greenland than just protecting it from the Chinese and the Russians. I think this is another Venezuela tactic where at first they were saying they wanted they wanted Maduro locked up because he was a narco terrorist and he was in a cartel, and then after he got arrested, he didn't mention anything about oil then. And then after he got arrested, after they got him, they were saying that the cartel, the soul, whatever, that he belonged to didn't even exist. And then they started talking about they're going to take over the oil. So I think there's a bigger angle than this. Something else, I thought that the troops was there to defend Greenland, but the troops are there to provide security like Trump is saying. Something else is, somebody said that they're gonna counter those terrorists in an orderly manner or in a coordinated manner. This could lead to something real bad. I don't know. I think Trump is pushing too many buttons. He's pushing too many buttons, and sometimes when you push too many buttons, you might hit the wrong button. Guys, you already know, man. Subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. May God help us all. Peace, love, and God bless.